What's good YouTube, SaneZ2 here to give you guys a character analysis for Majin Buu. Before I start this, I just want to talk about, my upcoming character analysis videos. I know I think it was in my Trunks video that I said I'd stop doing DBZ characters for a while and move on to other series. I think as of right now, I can officially say that the next character analysis that I do will probably be a non-DBZ character. So you can expect a Yu Hakusho one, a Fist of the North Star one, a Kenshin one, a Shaman King one. I mean, these are just possibilities for like what my next one might be. And I also got to do a character analysis for Firefish Shanks 1. Shout out to him real quick. Go check out his channel if you haven't. I'm sure most of you are already subscribed, but I promised him a character analysis on a big 3 character, and I have some candidates, but I actually haven't chosen which character that I want to do. So yeah, that's the whole thing concerning my character analysis videos. But I want to talk about Majin Buu right now. Now, before I actually get on with the actual analysis, there's one more thing I want to say. People hate on Buu. People need to stop hating on Buu. Okay, for me personally, I actually, as of late, I came to the realization that I always preferred Cell and Majin Buu as opposed to Frieza and King Piccolo. I don't know. I just liked the later villains, and though this is a character analysis video, so I might as well just talk about Majin Buu instead of Cell. So yeah, Majin Buu is basically a monster who was created by Babidi so that he could kill all the Kais and take over the entire universe, right? And I said Babidi, right? I think I said Babidi, but Majin Buu is pretty much a monster that loves to destroy. That's what he's about. He's about destruction. Whenever you see Majin Buu, the first thing that comes to mind is destruction. That's him. That's what he likes to do. He's a capricious being like that. He likes to destroy. And I'll never forget the first time when we saw him, because it was 2 troll moments, right? Two like the best troll moments that I think I've seen in an anime. Like, one is when the ball opens up, right? And the Supreme Kai's like, haha, haha, he's not there. He's dead after all, right? And once again, that alludes to the suckiness of Supreme Kai's character, which I'll probably talk about in a later video. Or it might be a video for the fan group, hint hint. And then Gohan looks up and sees the smoke. He's like, no, up there. And then the smoke forms, right? So I'm just like, oh shit, Majin Buu's still alive. So that's troll number 1. Troll number 2 is that Majin Buu is this fat looking motherfucker who looks nothing like Frieza or Cell. Like when we saw their first forms, they looked pretty cool, right? They looked pretty menacing and intimidating, but instead we got Fat Buu, who's like this childish sort of man-child sort of looking motherfucker who just trolled us all. He was like, he doesn't look like a villain, but he is. So anyway, the first half, when he's introduced, like the better part of the first half of the Majin Buu saga is about him and his relationship with Babidi, so to speak. We learn that Buu just does whatever he wants. He has a child's mentality, and Babidi just tells him to do stuff. Now, and just, Babidi pretty much orders him around. Now with Buu, we can obviously see that Buu doesn't follow Babidi's orders because he's obedient to him. He follows it because he's very capricious that way. He does things on a whim. Like, he does what he wants to do. So if Babidi tells him to go kill the Supreme Kai, he just goes like, okay, I'll do it, because that's what he likes to do. He doesn't really care for Babidi's sort of ambitions, so to speak. And the relationship with Babidi is sort of put on a strain when he finally fights Goku as a Super Saiyan 3, because this whole time Buu is a little fearful that Babidi is going to seal Majin Buu back up in his ball, and he doesn't want that, right? So that puts a strain on their relationship, and he acts reckless and childish, but you can see him. Babidi's like hanging on to like his cape, and he's just like flying around the entire dragon world just at a breakneck pace, not caring for anything, just killing cities, because that's the only thing he knows, like, at this point, right? So after the fight with Goku, after Goku sort of tells him that he should start thinking on his own, he kills Babidi after that fight. And because he doesn't want to be sealed up by him, and 2, he wants to do what he wants to do. So after he kills Babidi, he does what he wants. He's just a regular guy that just wants to do whatever he wants. Though in his case, it's a destruction of whatever, of everything basically. So that really starts as a relationship with Goku, so to speak. And that's actually like one of the major things about his character is his relationship with Goku. His second thing that we find out about later, or that that is sort of established later, is his relationship with Mr. Satan and B. From Mr. Satan and B, because Mr. Satan originally wanted to go and kill him, but because of Mr. Satan and B, he finally learns what it means to be a good person, and what it means to think and act on your own. For instance, Mr. Satan tells him that killing cities or killing people is bad, and that you shouldn't do it anymore. And he goes like, really? Okay, I'll stop doing it. And he, even though it sounds like he's following, even though it sounds like Mr. Satan made him do that, he actually genuinely feels that way once he gets all happy and stuff around when he's playing with B, and we see that as an audience, like that the guy is slowly transforming it from a villain into a good guy, right? And that's really his second most premier, well, it's his primary relationship, but it's the second one that really has an effect on his character, because he finally learns to actually be a good person and to stop killing and just to stop and think and act on your own, thanks to Mr. Satan and B, and of course Goku. The relationship affects him so much that he is able to hesitate to kill Mr. Satan and B when he absorbs Piccolo and Gotenks later when he becomes Super Buu. And I'm going to play that clip right now.
You can thank Gotenks for that technique. I know my little super ghost could have spun a dozen different moves at you, but you just keep making it so easy, Gohan. It's kind of sad. I almost feel guilty. There must be something you're still anxious to prove, Gohan. How amusing. The whole world is depending on you. You're the savior, and you're 3 breaths away from the end. Good night, Gohan. Without your father holding your hand, you really are nothing. Another Gotenks move out of the hat. Hope it's not too tight. How does it feel to be bound by your baby brother's moves?
Gohan, no!
Stop me if you've heard this one before. One final move, and game over! He's got a spark left.
Before he actually absorbed Gotenks and Piccolo, though, we can see that his relationship with Mr. Satan and B actually was well established before that, because once the evil inside him takes over, or rather once the evil and the good side of Buu is separated, and the evil side wins and eats him and becomes Super Buu, we see that even though the evil has sort of overtaken the good side of Majin Buu, he still cares for Satan and B, because he stops himself from attacking them when he charges them, or when he rushes at them with his arm, like, you know, like it's like it's extended this way. And then he also, quote unquote, spares them, so to speak, a second time when he uses the human extinction attack on Kami's lookout. Because when he uses when he uses the human extinction attack on Kami's lookout, he intentionally does not target Mr. Satan B, and he tries to get Tien and Chaozu, but they survive also. And it's only until later that we find out that the effect of absorbing the Grand Kai and supposedly the South Kai made his personality more controllable and more childish, and just more of that of a child, so to speak. He very much became a much more sweeter person after absorbing those two Kais, and that's really the genesis of Fat Buu. And with Super Buu, like I said, he spares them twice, he spares them twice, and then the third time, he hesitates to kill them, but he's ready to go through with it anyway. So just to reiterate those three situations: one, when he rushes them immediately after transforming into Super Buu; when he uses the human extinction attack is the second situation; and then third is that previous clip I played of Gotenks and Piccolo sort of aiming that little finger key beam at Mr. Satan and B. And of course, you know, he has his idiosyncrasies. He's pretty funny. He's very crazy about sweets. This affliction to sweets is like really like it's actually like almost a core thing of his character, because he has like the candy beam and stuff, and he just eats people, and that's what he likes. He likes sweets. But when he was in the hyperbolic time chamber, or for those of us who for those of you who will only watch the Japanese version, the Room of Spirit and Time, he got so mad that he screamed. He broke a hole in dimensions when he got very crazy, but when he realized that he couldn't eat any more sweet stuff. Like, that's how much sweets is important to him, and it's supposed to be humorous more than anything, but that's still like something that's very core to his character. When he absorbs Gotenks and Piccolo, he also wants to solidify his position as the strongest person of all. As he tells Gohan, there was no point in him absorbing Gohan, because if he absorbs the strongest, let me rephrase that. He wants to solidify his position as the strongest, so that's why he absorbs Gotenks and Piccolo to face Gohan, because Gohan is obviously stronger than him at that point, and he stands no chance unless he absorbs Gotenks and Piccolo. So he absorbs them because he realizes that there's no point in having strength if there's nothing to hit. I mean, this is something that he directly tells Gohan. And he realizes that strength is only meaningful if others take notice, which is sort of reciprocated in his relationship with Mr. Satan and B when he was Fat Buu, and even in his fight with Super Saiyan 3 Goku when Goku first transformed. So it's almost like it's interesting because he kills Babidi because the guy pretty much bitches him around, but with Goku, Mr. Satan, and B, who actually try to help him to become a good person, and he wants them to acknowledge him in a sense. And this is actually reciprocated at his death, which I'll get to later. But that's really something that's very that not many people pick up on Boo's character, is that he cares, he wants to be recognized by others, right? And he realizes that strength is only meaningful like if they are there to witness it. And so, of course, you know, he absorbs Gohan later, fights Vegito, absorbs Vegito and stuff, and he finally becomes strong. And you know, this is interesting because no one strong. There's no one stronger than Vegito in that universe. Well, at least in the manga at that time, as we thought before Battle of Gods came out and this and that. But he absorbs him because he has no way to beat him. So it seems like even though he wants to test his strength, he wouldn't die for it. So that's pretty much why he absorbs Vegito into his body, and because that's the only way he can beat him. Then when he becomes Kid Buu, he becomes a mindless killing machine. He has no goal. He's pretty much like almost like a gag character at this point. Like he's just there just to sort of kill and destroy. Rarely, pretty much no personality at that point. Before he is killed by the Spirit Bomb in that final battle, though, Buu does take note of Goku's comment on wanting to fight him again. And it's interesting because this is something about Goku's character as well. Goku actually forms a relationship with the most evil villain in the series so far. And yet Goku wants him to come back so that he can simply fight him again, you know? And Buu takes notice of that. And it's interesting that Goku would almost feel pity for this guy, you know, for the most evil villain in the entire series. I've always found that fascinating and interesting. And this whole thing about Buu taking note of Goku's comment, I think, even though King Yema was the one who actually made that thing, like, made Buu be reincarnated into Oob, it's interesting that Buu still took notice of that because, again, that speaks to my whole wanting to be recognized by others thing that I said before. With Goku, Hercule, or, oh, I can't believe I said Hercule, Mr. Satan, B, and then, of course, Gohan when he absorbs Gotenks and Piccolo. It seems that, like, the relationship with Mr. Satan and B is probably the strongest one out of all his relationships, and that's really, I think, the core part of his character, that relationship right there. And I think it's just brilliant writing that Mr. Satan and B, for that matter, were included in the final battle, and that pretty much the weakest character was responsible for the defeat of the strongest villain at that point in the series. So, yeah, that's all I gotta say about Majin. And I mean, I could talk about GT, but that's kind of non-canon. I mean, at that point, it's pretty much apparent that, you know, he's become like a good character, and that's why he sort of quote unquote fuses with Oob to become Majub, and yeah, you know, just not. I mean, I really wouldn't. I don't know. I would have talked about GT in my other character analyses if I really wanted to consider it. But yeah, that's Majin Buu. Underrated villain. Not many people. Listen. Majin Buu as a villain destroyed the Earth, killed all of humanity. Like the thing about DBZ villains that I love, as opposed to say other villains from other series, is the fact that the character themselves might be a little shallow, and I think Boo's no exception. I mean, he's deeper than some of the other DBZ villains in my opinion. He really is when you think about it. He actually has the most character development out of all the main DBZ villains when you think about it. I mean, of course, besides Vegeta, but I don't know count Vegeta. At least at this point in the series. I mean, compared to Frieza, Cell, and King Piccolo, I would say Buu probably has the most character development because of that relationship that he forms with Mr. Satan and B. But the thing I like about DBZ villains is the fact that even though the character and the character traits themselves are kind of shallow compared to other villains from other series, I love the feats that they can pull off. I like how threatening they are. I appreciate their evilness, how ruthless they are, and I think that's something that DBZ villains have convincingly an edge over, or have a pretty convincing edge over compared to other villains from other series. Even though I feel like, you know, other villains from other series are probably like more layered and have more depth to them and more character to them, and probably more character development and a backstory and this and that and this and that. It's just that DBZ villains, to me, it's particularly Buu, particularly the villainous feats that they perform are some of the best that I've seen. Blowing up the Earth, killing all of humanity in Cell's case, wiping out entire towns, Frieza enslaving hundreds of planets and stuff. That's what I appreciate about DBZ villains, the feats and the character, but I really love the feats, and particularly in Boo's case, that stands out, like pretty strong. So that's my character analysis on Majin Buu. Tell me what you guys think about Majin Buu. Do you think the Buu arc is underrated, overrated? You hate it, you love it? What do you think about Majin Buu as a character? Did you ever pay attention to that? Just let me know. And and I guess I'll end off with this. My favorite form of Buu is the form he takes when he absorbs Gotenks and Piccolo, bar none. I mean, the fat form was I don't know, too childish, too kiddie for me. I still liked it, but it was a little too kiddie. And then with the Evil Buu was pretty cool. Like how he just like killed that. It was one human, but the way that he did it, Von Zant, his name was. The way that he killed Von Zant was pretty badass. And then Super Buu, of course, I love his fight with Gotenks, and like I said, my favorite form is when he absorbs Gotenks and Piccolo. That's my favorite form of Buu. Just the way that he dominates Gohan in that fight is just... I just love the dialogue, the moves, just the beatdown in general is just amazing. And then when he absorbs Gohan, I think the anime did that a little better because they made that form beat up on Goku and Vegeta separately. They made that form beat up on them separately, to give that character, or to sort of give that form some validity as a threat. And then of course, they fused into Vegito, and that form was pretty much useless at that time. And then Kid Buu is actually one of my favorite forms. I love that final fight. That final fight. I just love the fact that Mr. Satan he's the reason why they beat Buu, and I just love the fact that he goes through. That fight with Super Saiyan 3 Goku, I just love. And the filler, even though the filler makes no sense with Super Saiyan 2 Goku, because that wasn't in the manga. In the manga, Goku immediately goes Super Saiyan 3 and then fights him. In the manga, or in the anime, he actually fights him as a Super Saiyan 2. Goku fights Buu as a Super Saiyan 2, and then, that's all filler. But that animation, that fight was pretty good also. But, I just love that final fight, and I just like the sort of humorous aspect to Buu's character. And yeah, my favorite form when he absorbs Gotenks and Piccolo. So yeah, also tell me what your guys' favorite form is. So yeah, that's my character analysis for Majin Buu. I'm thinking my next character analysis might be... I'm gonna do Frieza and Cell at some point, but I think I want to do Yusuke next, or Kenshiro, maybe even Kenshin. So I'm not sure, but I want to start getting into Yu Yu Hakusho and physical North Star characters. So I might do Yusuke next, actually. So we'll see where that goes. Thank you guys for watching. Peace, and have a nice day.